Hello and welcome to this video, which is a short introduction to our morning routine for people with EDS and especially hypermobile type EDS. So the movements that I've put together here are specifically helpful for people with EDS, but can also really benefit people with any type of chronic illness. So I'm a mindfulness and meditation teacher. I've been teaching mindfulness and meditation for over 30 years, and I have an MSc from Bangor University, looking at how mindfulness can best support people with chronic illness. I'm also a hypnotherapist and I teach mindful movement, specifically Qigong type Shibashi. So, why am I called the mindful zebra? Well, basically because, as you already know, people with EDS are known as zebras, and because my mindfulness and my mindful movement, which to me is all part of the same thing, actually is what keeps me functioning. I would not be mobile if it wasn't for the movement part of my practice. And I certainly wouldn't be coping as well as I am without the mindfulness type meditation and the brain training exercises that I've been doing for many years now. I don't want to give you the impression that by doing this, all of our problems are solved overnight. We have a chronic condition and we have to live with it. But what these practices help me to do, and they help those people that I teach to do, is to live with it in the best way we can. So we get the best quality of life we can get in spite of the difficulties that we encounter from day to day. So I have two teachers that I need to thank for learning this particular movement practice. So one is Brian Simpson, who is my Qigong instructor, and the other one is Shamash Ali Dina. And Shamash is a an expert in act-based mindfulness, and together they teamed up to create a mindful movement program for mindfulness teachers. And I found this to be so helpful personally that I went on to do some extra training courses with Brian and Shamash. And I also meet with a group on Zoom every morning and every Sunday for an extended Shibashi practice together. And it's through doing these Qigong movements that I've really built up strength in my body and also more psychological flexibility and resilience, along with my physical resilience and flexibility. My balance has improved, my strength has improved, my ability to manage pain has improved. And so, altogether, it's been a massive positive impact and influence on my life. And so, what I wanted to do with this video, or these videos really, is to offer the practices that I find most beneficial for me. So, in the morning when I get out of bed, I actually do some movements before I even get out of bed. So, I do some physio before I even try and get out of bed in the morning. And if you have an autonomic dysfunction like I do, then you're going to need to do something to get the blood flowing because we have blood pooling when we first wake up. So we don't want to leap out of bed, even if we could. It wouldn't be good for our autonomic system to do that. So we need to get out of bed gradually and decide whether we're going to do these practices sitting, lying, or standing. So I've done two videos, one for if you want to do these sitting down and one for if you want to do them standing up. I have on many occasions attended classes via Zoom from my bed when I haven't been able to sit up. And I have still found going through the program or through a routine surprisingly helpful in lots of different ways. The benefits are enormous. So I'd really encourage you just to have a go. So the routine that I've put together is one that is safe for beginners. So if you've never done any Tai Chi or Qigong before, this routine is safe for you to do on your own without an instructor present. As long as you follow the instructions carefully and always make sure that you work within your own limits, your own boundaries. So, one of the things we want to learn with mindfulness is to really listen to the body and listen to what our needs are at any given moment because these fluctuate wildly when we've got a condition like EDS. So, one of my mindfulness practices is to keep checking in with the body several times during the day. Now, I'm not perfect at this and I make mistakes and I mess up and I get things wrong and I forget my medication. I don't drink as much water as I should some days. And then I pay the price for that. But on days when I get off to a good start in the morning and I do my routine and then I stick to my routine during the day always goes much better. I have fewer accidents, I fall over, walk into things fewer times, I have fewer dislocations, I eat and drink better, and I feel better, at the end of the day. So, like I said at the beginning, this isn't a cure-all, but it's a system or a set of tools that can really help us to live each day in the best way that we can, in spite of whatever the difficulties are that we wake up with in the morning or whatever happens to us during the day. So, some of these practices help us to build strength. Some are to help us relocate joints that have come out during the night. Some of them are to help us with our balance and stability, and some to help us with our grounding. So, just to start with some general tips, start gently. Start with just maybe trying 5 minutes a day and then build from there. We know that 3 to 5 minutes a day of some sort of mindfulness practice is really beneficial. You can actually measure the changes in somebody's brain just by doing 3 to 5 minutes a day. So, start small and grow from there. So we're really thinking about developing our resilience and our strength and stability slowly. If we try and do something too quickly, all that happens is that we experience frustration, and frustration actually causes stress hormones. So, frustration isn't a bad thing, it's frustration that encourages babies to learn to crawl and walk and do things for themselves. It's one of the things that encourages us to make changes as an adult. But unnecessary frustration just builds up anxiety and stress in the body and produces stress hormones. And stress hormones, if they're left in the body, cause a debilitating effect on all sorts of systems in the body. And it actually increases our experience of pain. So our pain receptors are turned up when we have more stress in the body. So we don't want to overshoot. We don't want to give ourselves something more than we can actually cope with and increase our levels of frustration. We get frustrated with enough things as it is because of, not being able to open that tin or not being able to get a packet open, not being able to get your shoes on. All of those things cause frustration. So we don't want to add into our morning routine something else that's going to cause us extra frustration. Treat it as an opportunity to experiment, to explore, be curious, treat it lightly, and learn to do the things that are going to help you build long-term benefits, but also that bring you some enjoyment. So feel the flow of the movements, get into the practice, put on some nice music, and just enjoy it. Another thing to remember is to take your time. It took me 5 years to get from the point of being able to do some of the practices sitting or lying down to actually being able to do a whole routine standing. And even now, first thing in the morning, I find it really hard, but I persevere because I know that it's always better when I do it compared to the days when I don't do it. And there are very few days when I don't do it now because wherever I am, I will make it a priority to at least do part of my morning routine, even if I can't do all of it for some reason. And I really notice the difference when I do. And be kind. Don't berate yourself if it's taking longer than you thought it would, or you can't quite get a movement, or you decide you need to sit down part way through or go for a lie down. Be kind, you're learning something new. And it's a really good way to practice kindness is by learning something like this in a way that's very compassionate and gentle and understanding. And it's a good way to practice that self-compassion. One of the things that we often lose when we're diagnosed with a long-term condition is the ability to feel good about ourselves. So we can even start to lose our self-respect, our self-worth, and we certainly can lose the ability to look after ourselves well. And this is partly because we actually feel quite cross with our bodies for letting us down in this way. So, practicing kindness while we're doing our morning routine and being gentle with ourselves is a really good way to learn how to do that in other situations throughout the day. And just leave you with some parting words from my teachers. So, as Brian always says, focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. And Shamash always says we need to take tiny steps in the right direction. And then I would like to remind you, you are doing the best you can.